Welcome everybody, good morning at the World Port Hackathon, at the second day at the Hackathon 2016 in Rotterdam. My name is Dol van Duivenbode. I'm your journalist interviewer of the day. Welcome Ed van Dort, if I pronounce correctly,
Yes, correct.
from TNO Research. Ed, why are you here today?
Well, TNO is active in the area of making the inventions at university available for the larger public and translate them to a usable product in practice for the companies. So this is an ideal place to see in what way we can help the guys below to get the inventions from the universities and the data we have available for the market.
And is there a big gap between what is developed at the university and the market?
Yes, in general you can say the researchers at the university are researching because they want to know something more, but they are not thinking at the application in the end. And what we are trying to do is translate what is invented at the universities to the practice.
Because you would say that it's part of their task at the university to think of the market.
Yeah, but still, the research part, of course, is the main issue at the universities, and the major part in practice is that it's going to be usable. Mm-hmm. And TNO is the translation between those two.
And what are the biggest challenges you see nowadays in contemporary society regarding this field?
Regarding logistics specifically? Well, one of the major problems we have is that in a logistic chain, people are not really working together. They are very competitive. They have conflicts of interest in the chain, so it's very difficult to get them to work together. And what we try as an independent organization is get people together and make the working together possible by developing business cases for all the members of the groups.
And then not working together, why is that?
Well, in general they are competitors and they have conflicts of interest, so it's very difficult. Every shackle in the supply chain has its own interest and prefers to focus on his interest, which can be a conflict with another party in the chain.
It is a problem I heard earlier yesterday at our first day at the Hackathon. And is it, you can maybe solve it by using data, a lot of people said, but it's also based of trust, I would say.
Yeah, it's both. It's on one end it's really the human factor in the supply chain. On the other end it's the technique to share or make data available in the chain.
And that the human aspect, how is that solvable?
Well, that's perfect because TNO is an independent organization. We do not have business in the supply chain, so people trust us. So one of the major roles of TNO is getting the people together and make them talk to each other and understand each other's position in the chain.
And how can, I heard the term smart data, how can it contribute to that?
Well, when something goes wrong in the supply chain, we research that in almost 75% of the cases that's a direct result of not having the right data available at the right time or at the right person. So making the data available improves the efficiency in the chain. And when you look at, for instance, a container which is moving from Singapore to Germany, it moves for approximately 500 hours. But it also stands still for 400 hours. And that's because the information is not at the right place. So nobody knows the container is there, or the party that's picking it up doesn't know that it's available. So there's a lot to be improved.
But 400 hours, what can you squeeze that?
We had an example in a small part of the supply chain from Rotterdam to Venlo, and there we reduced the standstill time with 30%. But it can be still much more.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you can also think of the costs that will minimize.
Yeah, but on the other hand, people are also earning on the fact that things are inefficient. When a container is at a specific location, it can be that you have to pay for the container at that specific position. So that party won't be very happy when you reduce that time. So that's what I meant with the conflicts of interest. It's very difficult to keep everybody in the chain happy. Of course, when you reduce the standstill time of containers in the chain, some people earn less money.
Yeah, interesting. I haven't thought about that, because you would always think, as a simple consumer or a person not involved in this, that everybody would have the same goal. But of course, that's not always the case.
No, that's true. There are certain professions even that only exist because there's a lack of information.
Yeah.
So their role is getting the information available.
Yeah, exactly. Now back to the hackathon, because it's now 10 o'clock in the morning. We both had a good night's sleep. Not everybody here downstairs, because I heard they worked during the entire night. We see some people sleeping now at the moment. What do you hope that at the end of today you will encounter, you will see?
Well, one of the advantages of the World Port Hackathon is that people that are working on solutions are not rusted in solid patterns that you see in practice. These are young guys and women that are developing a software without too much background knowledge of the existing processes. So I hope that a few fresh ideas and fresh approaches that nobody thought about will arise from the hackathon, and that's what happened in earlier years.
It did, because it sounds like a lot to ask in such a short amount of time, but you are experienced with the hackathon. How was it in past years?
Yeah, you can't expect that they develop a fully functioning application, but what you see is that they have an idea, and they come to say 50-60% of realization of that idea, and show that to the jury, and then you immediately see which cases are chanceful and are not.
Yeah, how do you see that? What makes the difference between something that can be used and just an idea?
Well, for myself, I think that depends on the people that are looking at it. But for myself, it's when it's really disruptive and really a new approach for an existing problem.
Yeah, and when is something really disruptive?
Yeah, really new. It's quite easy to improve existing processes. So you tweak and tune a bit on the applications. But a really new approach to that's what we
So
need.
think completely out of the box and in another direction than ever has been done. Do you also walk around here as somebody from TNO, as maybe a scout for new talent, people who you can maybe use for future projects of?
Well, I'm on the sales side of TNO, so I'm not looking for people.
No.
That's not my main objective. But to be honest, I'm always looking for interesting companies around interesting developments, and some of the guys that are hacking are also working for companies. So it's a good place to meet new people.
Yeah, exactly, to network and meet each other. I thought of that as well. And maybe even a hackathon once a year isn't enough, because you would think that all these companies and the people whom I've talked to, they need this. I think consequently, people who bring up new ideas and who just dive into that. Would it be interesting to organize these kind of events more frequently?
Well, I think these events are very, very special, because it really are students that are coming not directly out of the supply chain business. But of course, there are a lot of initiatives, especially in Rotterdam, all kinds of innovation labs and so on. So there are a lot of events or companies already working on the innovative side of ports. But I think two times a year would be useful.
Okay. And what would regarding that? What would, according to you, what will be one of the most important things how to make Rotterdam the smartest port?
I think it's not only technique. I think technique is one of the parts. I think the main thing would be wanting to think out of the box, new approaches for problems. So really being a different port, and therefore a more efficient port.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's the best start of the day. Think out of the box, and not just a little bit, but completely step out of it.
Yeah, that's the major problem in the supply chain, is that there are all kind of rusted habits, and it's very difficult to let them go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Ed van Dort. Thank you for watching. Remember, all the hackers watching today, think out of the box. We'll be right back with our other guest. Thank you.